All right, here we go. So I've got a picture of a pizza. Now we see that one piece is missing. And we can also, if we look at it as if the whole pizza was there, we can count how many pieces there were. So what do you think is the numerator of this picture? And also, what do you think is the denominator of this picture? Think about it for a minute and write down a fraction on your paper and see if we come up with the same idea of what this picture here represents when it comes to fractions. Remember, there is the numerator, which is the part we're talking about, and the denominator, which is all of the parts together to make a whole. So look at this again. Count, and what did you come up with? All right. How many pieces are there? Let's count them. We're going to pretend that piece is still there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 pieces in this pizza. If you wrote 8 as your denominator, which is the bottom number, then you are correct. The one we're talking about that's missing, the one part that we're talking about is 1. That should be your numerator. This pizza represents 1/8. 1/8 of this pizza has been eaten. Now, if you had 8 pieces there and you wanted to share it with 8 friends, you would have one for each person. You will have 1/8 will go to each person out of this pizza. So if you have any questions on this concept, please let me know because we're going to continue going over this in just a moment. Okay? All right, so I'm going to look at this Hershey's bar. With the way things are right now, all the milk chocolate was sold out. So I ended up getting special dark. I know a lot of kids don't like dark chocolate. I do, but I tried to get the milk chocolate so it was more easily identifiable to you. So I'm going to open this up. And if you can ever get a hold of a Hershey's bar, you can do the same thing. Because what the Hershey bar is going to show us is that we have, even though this is a whole Hershey bar, how many pieces do we have? And what would the fraction be for this candy bar? Think about it for a moment. And I'm going to put this on pause so you can think about it for a second. All right, so there we go. There are 12 pieces. Now, 12 pieces, would that be the numerator or the denominator? If you're not sure, I'm going to go over it one more time really quickly. This is a whole candy bar. We have 12 squares. Would that number 12 be the numerator or the denominator? And as we explained before, the denominator is how many parts there are total in the whole thing. Now, if I break these off, what would my fraction now be? Which one of these is the numerator and which one of these is the denominator? Think about that for a minute and I'm going to get right back to you. All right, I am back. Let me get my pieces. No, I didn't eat them yet, but I do have them here. So if you did a fraction for what I have here, this is the whole, and now it's been divided up. If your fraction was 3/12, you are correct. Because I've taken 3 out of the 12 away, and I've eaten them. So what I have left will be 9 pieces because I ate the 3. I ate 3 out of the 12 that I had. That is a fraction, and I'm showing you just like this, 3/12. So your fraction should have been 3/12. And that would be your new fraction. Now, if I had just this as my whole, so let's forget about the rest of it, and now this is the whole. How many pieces are there? If you think there's 3, yes, as you can see, you're correct. So this, if we call this now the new whole thing, would this be the 3? Would this be the numerator or the denominator? If you think it's the denominator, which goes on the bottom of a fraction, you are correct. Now, if I take one of these away, what would be my fraction? Which one of these will be the now numerator? And which will be the numerator? I'm sorry, the denominator. Numerator, denominator. If you said 1 out of 3 is your fraction, you are correct. 1/3. 1/3. We have 3 total parts, but I'm talking about 1 at this moment. So that is your 1/3. So that's a good way as far as using something like a candy bar or a pizza. When you want to share something equally, what you got to do is turn it into a fraction. And again, a lot of us do some of this stuff daily and don't really realize we're working with fractions. But when you think about it, it's not that difficult. So this is kind of reintroducing fractions again. But I want you to understand that it's not difficult. Don't make it hard on yourself. Just look at what you're seeing. And I'm going to show you an example of one of the papers that I'm going to be putting up for hard copies to be picked up if interested, or if you go to the link online. When I put it up on Class Dojo, you should be able to get this if you want and print it. And I'm hopeful, because this is all still new, I'm hopeful that you'll be able to do it interactively. Because when I look at it, I can do it interactively. It gives you the tools on the side. You're going to fill in certain parts of this, and I'm going to go over one of them for you now on paper, but you should be able to do it online. So let's look at this first one, 4/7, or 4/7, or 4 out of 7. How many sections do you see? If you think there are 7, of course, you are correct, because all I got to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 parts to this whole thing. And that is the number that goes on the bottom, which is called the denominator. The denominator is always on the bottom. Now, we're talking about 4 parts of this whole. So the whole thing is 7. The numerator, which is the 4 parts, they want you to color in 4 out of 7. And that's what I'm going to do right now. This is what 4/7 look like. 4 out of 7. 7 is the whole thing that's split up into different sections. 4 are what we're talking about. If this was pieces of gum, I had 7 pieces of gum. I gave 4 of them away. I gave 4/7, 4 out of 7 of my sticks of gum. So if you have any questions on any of this stuff, I will be putting it all up on Class Dojo, and you'll be able to access it. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call or get a hold of. Send your messages. We're going to be finding many different ways of trying to interact for the remainder of the school year if it keeps going the way it does right now. But I want you to know I miss every one of you guys, and I want you to practice. It's good for you to do it. It's not a thing of just keeping you busy. It's a thing that you need to do. You got to keep practicing. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and the better you will become at doing it. And I would be excited to see some of my students make up their own fractions and draw what they look like and take a picture of them and send them. I would love to see your response on this. Don't forget, there's a homework hotline I'll be setting up meetings for. We'll be on Thursdays at 11 a.m. And I will be setting up other online meetings with you in the very, very near future. So please look out for this. And please, if you don't know anybody, or if you do know somebody that is not able to get on through technology or have the internet, please let them know there are going to be work packets to pick up on Wednesdays from the school in the outside box outside the front door. So please practice. You will do it. You can do it. And I believe in all of you third graders. You rock. So, with that being said, until next time, keep it going. Team Bunch.